Thank you for
Good
having
morning.
me. Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
Who says I'm gay? And then what was their mouths? Yeah, pale power. We have returned to the 40s to discover the roots of success. Speaking of roots, how about those African kids, huh?
You are gay. You are.
you are gay. $17 to poop and pee all over these women. Oh look, it's a yellow-headed, pink-tailed booby. Ooh, whoa. I don't want to suck that guy's dick. Look at him. He's got the little belly. He's got the grown man tits. What the hell? Hey. It's time for fun facts. And then what is this? This is a video? Oh, they're Muslim. I see. Hello and welcome back to Pandering Hour. I am your host, Anthony Martin, and today on Pandering Hour, we are going to be discussing Croatia. Croatia ranked number 46 on the Human Development Index. We're getting there. The gap is closing between the top and the bottom. It's going to take me another year to do this easily. Fortunately, until this whole comedy thing takes off, I got plenty of time. My heart and lungs are sucking. So if you see me having to take deep breaths, that's why. This whole disease thing that put me in the hospital was supposed to have stopped. It's not. The disease is like, what? It's cold out there? Fucking let's go. But I'm in a good mood. I'm feeling the Christmas spirit, or maybe it's the adrenaline. But let's talk about Croatia. So Croatia, quick story about Croatia. Never heard of it. Croatia to me sounded like Ukraine. Ukraine to me sounded like Afghanistan. So I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, it's like a whatever sort of country. And so I was working at Ralph's at the time. And let's zoom in on this. Let's zoom in on my story time. I was working at Ralph's at the time, and this guy is like, "Oh, I'm from Croatia," and we were getting along. It turns out we lived right down the street from one another, and I'm like, "Oh, really?" And so I went on my phone and I Googled, uh, "Is how much of a piece of shit country is Croatia?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I see the beaches, I see stuff like it looks nice." And I showed him what I Googled, and he just didn't think it was funny. And he literally like got up. We were at lunch. He just got up and went somewhere else. And I was like, "All right, well, okay." And then like I think he quit the next day or something. Like I never saw him again. He was just like, "I can't believe that guy. That guy's such an asshole." So yeah, I guess that was not nice. Not so nice. Are Croatian people proud? They value their families, education, and careers. As independence took centuries to achieve, Croats, that doesn't sound appropriate. Croats are extremely proud of their internationally recognized sovereign country and eager for others to accept them and learn Croatian history and culture. What are the people of Croatia like? Croatians are generally very loyal people. They show long-term commitment to members of their family, extended family, blah blah blah. A common metaphor used among Croats. I'm not gonna get. My brain won't accept Croats. To describe their loyalty and identity is that of a single group of people who share the same blood. Okay. Let's look at the fun facts. Because now I know nothing else about Croatia other than that the people are attractive and it's like a good vacation spot. So let's go into the fun facts. Fact number 1, the country of Croatia was inhabited as early as the Paleolithic Age. The Croats arrived in the 6th century. Okay. Paleolithic Croats. Okay. Land and people. So what, okay. 6,000 BC to 3,000 BC. Animals in this age. Prehistoric Cyprus. Okay. Is that close? Where's Cyprus? Dude, let me in. Google's like, oh, you want to stay in the browser while you're looking at the map? No, get me in the map, dude. Croatia. All right. I want directions from Cyprus. Okay, not far. Just like a 20-day walk. Okay. Animals in Croatia. Images. Let's see. Oh, they had bears? Time out. Croatian bears. Dude, show me the animals. Okay. I'm not seeing too many animals from Croatia, but like mysterious Mongolian warriors help build a multi-ethnic empire. So maybe horses? I mean, Croatia has bears, but bears can migrate. So like those could be new bears as opposed to the old bears. Let's see. Neolithic period was characterized by the emergence of permanent organized settlements and by the production of earthenware and other items. The Adriatic era is most significant. Neolithic cultures are the Impresso, Danilo, and the Hvar cultures, and in the interior, the Sopot, Koranovo cultures, while the major sites where finds have been recovered are, what is that? Smilsik near Zadar, Danilo, and Sibenek, Markova, Grapkeva caves on Hvar and others. It just sounds like I'm saying words. I'm like sounding it out. It's really goofy. What is the Pregelazano? Razdonoble is that's not English. That's why. I'm like, what kind of name is that? Like, whatever. Okay. Skull of a Neanderthal man in the Croatian Natural History Museum. Round vessel. Okay, as Stone Age gave way to the Bronze Age, known as the Eneolithic period, in which the first metal copper began to use. This is sort of vague and not Croatia specific. I want to see ancient times and early Christian period. Yeah. The amphitheater in Pula, also known as the Arena, built in the 1st century, 6th largest in the Roman Empire, could host 25,000 spectators. Is that in, where is that? Is that in Croatia? Let's go to the map. Pula, Croatia. Okay. Were there fights in, not fights, I should say gladiators in the Pula Arena? Visit the unique arena in Pula, built from the local limestone in Tuscan style. It consists of 4 levels with the highest point as high as 33 meters. The central part was used for gladiator fights, animal hunts, and public trials. So here's the crazy thing about gladiator fights. They would have people fight like animals, like big animals. They would bring here gladiator How do you spell gladiator? Gladiator. Gladiators fighting animals in history. Some gladiator contests included animals such as bear, rhinos, tigers, elephants, and giraffes. Most often, hungry animals fought other hungry animals, but sometimes hungry animals fought against gladiators in contests called venations, wild beast hunts. Wow. Wild animals slaughtered in gladiator games. Let's look at that one. The ancient... Hold on. Pause that. Stop it. The ancient Roman gladiator games were a spectacle of blood and brutality that captivated audiences for centuries. While we may imagine sword-wielding gladiators fighting to the death in the arena, there is another element to these games that often goes underlooked. We use the exotic animals, from lions to tigers to elephants and bears. These majestic creatures were brought in from far-flung lands to add an element of danger and excitement to the games. But what is life like for these animals, and how are they transported and kept? This is the fascinating and often disturbing world of exotic animals in the Roman gladiator games. The gladiator games held at the Colosseum were all about one thing: propaganda. The entire purpose of these games was to show off the wealth, power, and generosity of the emperors who staged them. As such, the games had to be as spectacular as possible, and the stakes had to be raised repeatedly. What better show of wealth and power than the stage hunting of exotic beasts most Roman citizens had never even heard of before, let alone seen? Animal hunts soon became popular even at the Colosseum, second in popularity to only the gladiator fights. That's an elephant, a dog, and a lion? There's no way. After these hunts, but these hunts actually predated the Colosseum inauguration in 81 AD. Public spectacles of wild animals either being hunted or forced to fight each other were either common throughout Roman civilization. First record of such an event dates back to 251 BC, when 142 elephants were shown off to celebrate the famous victory against the Carthaginians. Once the show was over, the elephants had outlived their usefulness, and the Romans were slaughtered. Over time, usefulness to the Romans and were slaughtered. Over time, these events became more sophisticated. In 186 BC, Marcus Filinus Nobilor. What'd they do with 142 dead elephants? To the Jews? What did they do to the Jews? That's going to be a second thing. What did the Romans do with 142 dead elephants? How did the Romans deal with Hannibal's elephants? The Romans eventually developed an effective anti-elephant tactic that led to Hannibal's defeat in his final battle of Zama in 202 BC. His elephant charge, unlike the one at the Battle of Tunis, was ineffective because the disciplined Roman maniples simply made way for them to pass. Okay. The elephant in Rome. How big is an elephant? I don't think I'm going to find the answer to what they did with those elephants, but how big is an elephant? What do they taste like? How big is an elephant? Is an elephant's pee-pee? That was literally a response. What do elephants taste like? Let's start with this. How big is it? African bush elephant. They think they made it to Africa. Did the Romans... Yeah, because of Cleopatra. Okay. So they're Asian elephants, African elephants, and then African forest elephant. Let's see. But how tall? 3 feet, maybe like... Wait, really? 3 feet? That's a 6-foot tall elephant. That's not even... And then that elephant's fucking huge. There's no way. There's no way. Average adult male is the dark. Largest recorded male. Average adult female. So probably more like 12 feet tall, with the largest being like 15 feet tall. But like, dude, look at that. Look at that. Oh, is that from the oh, what was that elephant movie? The Protector? That's a good movie. I mean, not like a good story, not like a interesting. It's like a boy and his dog kind of movie, but with a lot of like really dumb fighting. It's like the kind of fighting that you see in Ip Man, where he's like, and then like the guy gets punched and he flies and he hits the wall, and you're like, no one. If I could punch someone so hard that they would send their body flying off the ground, they would die. How much force does that take? How much force does it take to knock? I'm going to say 150, let's round it up, 180 pounds off the ground. Off the ground? Not in images. Hold on. So acceleration is above F. F is force, mass, and A is, if you want to include, hold on. 180 pounds is a force, the force of gravity on a human. Presumably, the person is close to sea level on Earth, not the moon, so we can reliably convert the force of gravity on their body to about 181 kilograms, a quantity of mass. Now, your question would be, how much force is needed to push a human being, a mass of 81 kg? The question is a trivial answer, none, because you left out the part of the question, how fast do you want a human to accelerate? If you were to try the... Just tell me. Jesus Christ. This is too much information. I wanted a simple number. According, the average untrained male can punch with a peak force of approximately 300 to 400 pounds. Okay. What's like the peak force? What's Francis Ngannou's peak force? .96 horsepower. What is, I mean, I don't know what that is. Convert 96 horsepower to force. Oh my god. That's equal to pound force foot? What? Let's, how about Newton? Can I get this in newtons? Nope, that's too high. What's something that I can... I guess, pound force by foot? How much force can Francis Ngannou punch? Striking power, I don't understand what that means. What is a striking power of this many? Oh, it's equivalent to 96 horsepower. That's fantastic. Okay. Well, he holds the record, and I don't think he could knock someone off the ground with one punch. I don't even know what I'm talking about. What do elephants taste like? Elephant meat is dense and fibrous, making it hard to chew. Tastes mildly of pork, but has a more robust flavor than beef or lamb because its muscles get less exercise. The taste is often compared to venison. Wow. That sounds delicious. I want it. Like a nice... Is it halal to eat elephant meat? What? Is it halal? Their meat is unlawful. This meat is unlawful. Damn. I want to get that tattooed on my body. This meat is unlawful. That's awesome. What did the Romans do to the Jews? 985 villages were destroyed, and most of the Jewish population of central Judea was essentially wiped out, killed, sold into slavery, or forced to flee, banished from Jerusalem, which was renamed Aelia Capitolonia. The Jewish population now centered in Galilee, initially at Yavne. Okay. Julius Caesar and Augustus supported laws that allowed Jews protection to worship as they chose. Synagogues were classified as colleges to get around the Roman laws banning secret societies, and the temples were allowed to collect the yearly tax paid by all Jewish men for the temple maintenance. Okay. Why did the Romans fight the Jews? The First Roman-Jewish War began the year 16 CE, originating in the Greek and Jewish religious tensions, and later escalated due to anti-taxation protests and attacks upon Roman citizens. You know, it kind of makes sense in a weird way to tax people. Like, if you're in charge, because that's what our parents do. Like, our parents, when you live at home, like, they don't want you there. At least in my experience, they don't want you there, and so they tax you. They're like, okay, you're going to do this labor, you're going to pay me this rent, you're going to pay this, you're going to do that. And the worse the relationship with your parents, the more that tax is going to fluctuate. But I think it works the same for people. I think government is just like a expanded parent-child relationship, which is why it makes so much sense that like I don't trust single politicians because they don't have. I think they look at people as like they have a war mindset. Like, it's the same reason why if you're not a family-oriented person, I don't think you should be in government, because then you look at things more from like there's an us versus them. But not even like, it's not we're all individuals. We're never all going to be individuals. We think of ourselves as like it's just me. I'm a one person. I'm just one guy living in an apartment complex with 200 units, and each unit has at least one person, maybe a couple cats, a couple dogs, and I definitely am not sharing the air with these people, and I'm definitely not sharing trash bins with these people. I'm definitely not sharing electricity from the city with these people. But you are inherently interwoven into these people's lives. And we don't talk to our neighbors. And I'm going off about the disconnectedness of our country again. But yeah, I think if everyone in the apartment complex agreed on it, we should, well, no, because then, you know, I was going to say we should be able to tax people we don't like, but then what if I become that person? And I'm like, oh, those people would be jerks, but I would do it right. I would be really good at getting rid of the bad people. What is this? Oh, this is about like the animal fights. So I want to see the What did Croatia mean? Pula Arena in Rome. Or, sorry, in the Roman Empire. Pula Arena. Is the only remaining Roman amphitheater to have 4 side towers entirely preserved. It was constructed between 27 BC and AD 68. And is among one of the world's 6 largest surviving Roman arenas. The arena is also the country's best preserved ancient monument. The amphitheater was depicted on the reverse of the Croatian 10 kuna banknote, issued in 1993, 1995, 2001, and 2004. Construction. The exterior wall is constructed in limestone. In part, the part facing the sea consists of 3 stones, while the other part has only 2 stories since the amphitheater was built on a slope. The maximum height of the exterior wall is about 30 meters. The first 2 floors each having 72 arches, while the top floor consists of 64 regular openings. Okay, yeah. Middle Ages, the interior of the arena was often used for grazing, occasional tournaments by the Knights of Malta. What? There were knights in Malta? If you didn't listen to the Malta episode, Malta is fucking nothing. Malta is like a little. Isn't Malta like way over here? Is this Malta? Or is this still Italy? There's Malta. Yeah. This is Malta. Okay, are you seeing that? Are you seeing this? So, here's Croatia. Croatia is like a little outline baby next to the whole boot of Italy. And then you can barely even see Malta. This is like, Hawaii to America. Malta is tiny. So what are they doing way up there? The Order of the Knights of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem. Long name. Commonly known as the Knight Hospitaller, is a medieval and early modern Catholic military order. Isn't it crazy that like the Catholics had like a military order? Like the what was that called? The Crusades. I want to look up the Crusades. Catholic Crusades. That might be a redundant thing to Catholic Crusade. It was founded by the King of Jerusalem in the 12th century and had headquarters there until 1291. Thereafter being based in Colossi Castle in Cyprus, the island of Rhodes, Malta, and St. Petersburg, which is Russia, I believe. The Hospitallers arose in the early 12th century during the height of the Cluniac movement, a reformist movement with the Benedictine monastic order that sought to strengthen religious devotion and charity of the poor. Early in the 11th century, merchants from Amalfi founded a hospital in Jerusalem dedicated to John the Baptist to care for the sick, poor, and injured pilgrims to the Holy Land. Blessed Gerard, a lay brother of the Benedictine order, became its head in 1080. After the conquest of Jerusalem in 1099 during the First Crusade, a group of crusaders formed a religious order to support the hospital. Some scholars considered the Amalfitian order based on the Amalfi Coast, and hospital to have been a distinct from Gerard's orders and its hospital. The organization became a military religious order under its own papal charter, charged with the care and defense of the Holy Land. Following the reconquest of the Holy Land by Islamic forces, the Knights operated from Rhodes. Whoa. What is this? Oh, and this took me over to the Crusades. Perfect. The Crusades were a series of religious wars initiated, supported, and sometimes directed by the Christian Latin Church during the medieval period. The best known... Time out. Isn't this basically what... Where does the Pope live? The Pope lives at the Vatican. When was that established? When was the Vatican established? And isn't there a Vatican Bank? Vatican Bank. Okay. So there is a Vatican Bank. That's weird. Yeah, I was watching like a clip of The Godfather, and the whole thing that he does, he's like, and I want to buy into the Vatican Bank. So, let me see this. The independent state of the Vatican City, on the other hand, came into existence The 11th of February, 1929, by the Lateran Treaty between Holy See and Italy, which spoke of it as its new creation, not as a vestige of a much larger papal state, which had previously encompassed much of central Italy. Okay. Like, is this what they were trying to do? Did people reject the Vatican City the way that people rejected, like, Israel? Because isn't this kind of like a similar thing? Obviously, the Vatican City is tiny. It's tiny. But, I don't know. I don't know what the purpose of it was. What is the purpose of it? What was the purpose of the Vatican? Center of Christianity since the foundation of St. Peter's Basilica by Constantine, 4th century. At the later stage of a permanent seat of the popes, the Vatican is at once again the preeminently holy city for Catholics, an important archaeological site of the Roman world, and one of the major cultural references. Okay. Was it originally useful? It was originally a burial ground. Okay. What is the reason for the Vatican? To enable the Pope to exercise his universal authority. Wow. Okay, now let's talk about the bank. Perhaps more than any other, the Vatican Bank should be expected to maintain the highest of moral standards in the way that it conducts its business. Whose morals? What does that mean? Moral standards are a ridiculous thing to try and uphold because everyone has different morals. It's a religious bank. Just look at any other religion, you know? What if the Satanists are like, this isn't moral? However, despite its saintly links, the bank that acts on behalf of the Catholic Church has developed a reputation for corruption, scandal, mismanagement over the last few decades. Murder, bribery, suspicious deaths, money laundering, and many other nefarious acts have been linked to the bank, or as it's officially known, the Institute for Works of Religion. Can I invest in that? Can I invest in the Vatican Bank? Invest in a portion of that money in stocks, bonds, and real estate. Oh my God. Because I work in property management, so it'd just be funny to be like, hey, who owns this? It's like the Pope, the Papa, the Papa, Big Papa, representative of the big man. It's evaluated at 5.6 billion. Pfft, that's nothing. How much is Chase Bank worth? How much is Chase Bank worth? Like 10, 100, 5, like 100 times that. Come on. Get out of here, man. New Vatican policy orders foreign investment accounts. Oh, what? The guidelines order Vatican departments to close their investment accounts or stock holdings in foreign banks. Okay. Interesting. Transfer assets to bank. Why Pope Francis' Vatican bank order is a big deal. Pope Francis issued a rescript Tuesday emphasizing that all Vatican departments and institutions are required to move their investments and cash to the Institute for Works of Religion, commonly called the Vatican Bank, within the next few weeks. At first glance, the document appeared to be a little bit more than a hurry-up legal memo to curial departments, giving them until the end of September to finish bringing their cash and investments back to the Vatican's own institutions from the outside banks and accounts. But a close read of the short text points to something else. It turns out Francis's order on Tuesday could be one of more significant financial policy changes of its pontificate. I like how it's like, this is the bank. Ooh. All the money's in there. No, it's not. It's on a computer. There's no way. It is the Vatican, though, so maybe they do have gold? Do they have gold? I bet they would. I bet they have some sick treasure. Oh, it'd be so sick to be a Viking and just raid the Vatican. Has the Vatican ever been sacked. The sack of Rome. No. When was the Vatican sacked? This was in 15. This is not the modern day Vatican. No, 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 no. Okay. Does the Vatican have treasure? Among its 200 plus priceless artifacts may never exhibited before, the papal jewels, bone fragments belonging to St. Peter and St. Paul, personal, holy shit, St. Peter and St. Paul, that's, those guys are pretty important. Pretty fucking important. Those aren't apostles, right? No, those are, was it Peter or Paul? I don't know. Personal effects of Pope John Paul II, and swords, armor, and uniforms from Papal Swiss Guard. Okay. How much is the Vatican treasures worth? Oh, so they have other stuff. Bankers' best guesses about the Vatican's wealth put it at 10 billion to 15 billion. So what it seems to me is like the Vatican is kind of like those Arabian princes. Like, you know, those guys in the Middle East who are like princes and kings, they don't have to tell you how much money they have. They just have that money. Like, they don't pay taxes. They don't answer to anybody. So who knows how much wealth they actually have? Let me see. I want to see what kind of treasures are in there. What kind of... They have... See, that's what I'm saying. They also have Egyptian treasures. They have, like, stuff that doesn't belong to them. Like, I don't even know what that is. It's like a library. It's got fine works of art. It's got, you know, whatever the fuck that is. I was watching the Bad Pope. What was that movie with Jude Law? Jude Law Pope. The Young Pope. It was, I thought it was cool, but then it just kind of got weird and I got lost. Let's go back. Where was I? Past scandals. Like the Catholic Church, the Vatican Bank has been steeped in mystery for much of the time it has been in operation. Founded in 1942 as a means to manage money on behalf of the Catholic Church, its main purpose was to provide for the safekeeping and administration of movable and immovable property transferred or entrusted to it by physical or juridical persons, and intended for works for religion or charity. It was plunged into disrepute in the late 1970s after many years of rumors about money laundering on behalf of the mafia, which I'm assuming is where that whole thing from The Godfather comes from. When Pope John Paul I died in 1978, in apparent mysterious circumstances, many conspiracy theories suggest that it might have had something to do with his desire to clean up the affairs of the Vatican Bank. The scandal intensified a few years later when, in the early 1980s, a bank that it had a majority stake in, called Banco Ambrosian, whatever, hit the news for all the wrong reasons. Its leaders were accused of transferring money out of the country into shady overseas banks, as well as being linked to illegal Masonic Lodge. Oh, linked to the Masonic Lodge. So here's the thing. By the way, this episode's deep in conspiracy theory. I need to get back to Croatia at some point. I've only... Whoa. 40 minutes. Shit. Okay. Masonic Lodge, Portland. Actually, yeah, how close is one to me? Damn, there are a whole bunch of these things. Holy shit. Look at all these Freemasons. Masonic Lodge, Satanist. 7 things you may not know about the Freemasons. Oldest fraternal organization in the world. Symbols aren't what you think. Freemasons have long... This is the History Channel. by the way, long communicated using visual symbols drawn from the tools of stone masonry. The all-seeing eye, the eye of providence, while not designed by the Masons, have been used by the group to represent the omniscience of God. The most well-known Freemason symbol, the square and compass, depict a builder's square joined by a compass. The G at the center remains subject to dispute. Some experts at the Massachusetts Institute for Technology, for example, believe that the G in the symbol center represents geometry, a critical field to the Freemasons. One second. A critical field to the first Freemasons, while others represent or believe it represents God, the grand architect of the universe. It's literally a G. Could be a lot of things. The square and compasses remains a popular symbol on Masonic rings. There's a special handshake. The Catholic Church forbids members from being Freemasons. That's why I thought that was interesting. Freemasons inspired America's first political third party. It's still a boys' club. Wait, what? It's talking about Portland, didn't it? Didn't it just talk about Portland? Traditionally, Freemason membership has only been open to men in the group's 1723 Constitutions, a kind of guidebook to the organization by James Anderson, written under the aegis of the Grand Lodge of England. Women and atheists were excluded along with enslaved people. Famous Freemasons are everywhere. George Washington was a Master Mason. Benjamin Franklin, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Gerald Ford, Winston Churchill, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, David Crockett, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Washington Post. Masonic Lodge Satanist interview. There's an interview that I saw. Whoa. Was it Ken Fish? Whoa, up. Mute this site. I'm not, we are changing. It's not the same thing. Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to the wonderful world of Remnant Radio. Today we've got Ken Fish. We're talking about Freemasons. It's going to be an exciting program. You guys stay tuned. You are watching the Remnant Radio, a crowd of... Okay, Ken, someone in the comments, this is a question for Ken. It says, can Christians be demonically and or generally cursed? If so, can you provide spiritual reference from the New Testament? Yeah, generationally cursed. Yeah, sorry, I apologize. I would typically run to, if I had to get an explicit text for demonic oppression for believers, would be 2 Corinthians 11:4. When someone comes and proclaims another Jesus than the one we've proclaimed, or if they receive a different spirit from the one you have received, or if you accept a different gospel than the one you have accepted, you put up with it readily enough. So in 2 Corinthians, he opens the book saying, this is to the saints, the hagios, the holy ones that he's writing to. And then he tells them, I'm worried about you. Just like Eve put up with demonic doctrines, demonic teachings, false spirits, you seem to be willing to do that very thing. That would be typically one that I run to. And we talked a lot about, we don't
orbisministries.org, because this is a podcast.
So this is not, what is this, Remnant Radio? I'm guessing this is a Christian channel of some sort. This is not what I'm looking for. But I am going to go back to YouTube. Let me see. Where is it? There was a guy. We asked California Freemasons on their take. Where is it? There was a guy. I can't even find him. Oh, see, like the hand signs and all kinds of stuff like that. Where is it? There was an interview with this guy. He had reached like the highest level. Timeout. Freemason leaves lodge due to satanic beliefs. Interview. I don't understand why the Catholics are so like against Freemasons, but like where I know I saw this somewhere. Yeah,
There's an American war hero buried underneath a busy New York City intersection right in front of the Flatiron Building. This is the obelisk dedicated to General William Worth, who fought in the Mexican-American War and conquered all the way down to Mexico City. Yep, he's buried right underneath here. There's two other obelisks in New York City, right by St. Paul's in downtown Manhattan, that's dedicated to Thomas Addis Emmet, an advocate for Irish independence and also a New York State Attorney General. And then there's another obelisk right behind the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Cleopatra's Needle, which was erected in 1881 and imported over from Egypt. Take out a map and there's something even more strange. You draw a straight line from the obelisk at St. Paul's all the way to Cleopatra's Needle, and right in the middle, perfectly, is this obelisk. What's up with that? Cleopatra's Needle was installed by Freemasons. Thomas Addis Emmet, a Freemason, and General Worth, a Freemason. And one block.
See, this is the stuff that makes me be like, what is that? Like, I get that their whole point is to be, you know, they worship masonry, right? Like, that's the part that, like, kind of deflates the bubble and, like, kind of brings up, it's because they're up to something, it's because it's satanic. But, like, we typically call something satanic when we don't understand it or when it's confusing. But if you look at it at face value, and they worship geometry and math, of course they would their structures and like their monuments would be things that line up. Like, you know, he's like, I drew a line, I put these two places here, right in the middle of it there's another obelisk. What is that? And it's like, yeah, it's the math nerds doing math things. Like, maybe they're not satanic, maybe they're just like the nerdiest nerds to nerd, you know? Anyway, I want to talk about Croatian women. Let's see. Because they're supposed to be attractive, aren't they? Like, aren't there a lot of Croatian models? Like, oh, Jesus, what the fuck? Are you guys seeing this? What is... Sorry, Nina. And then who's this? Low res. Big old forehead. Anna Sasso. Oh, is she with, something Sasso? Will Sasso? Ted Lasso? White ladies, bunch of white ladies. Do. Oh, I know about this lady. Hold on. She's the lady who wore, yeah. She gets like naked at football games. Yeah. She was doing like this whole thing at the FIFA Cup, and people were talking all about it. Who is she? Fans gutted over ex-Miss Croatia's naked promise as World Cup final dreams end. Oh, I guess she was going to get naked if the people won. More options. Reject all. Reject all. Save and exit. Footy fans have been left gutted after the realization that Ivana Knoll's X-rated promise won't be happening. The former Miss Croatia has been cheering on her nation at the Qatar World Cup, often taking the attention away from them with her daring outfits. After they'd beat Brazil in the quarterfinals, she suggested that she would go naked if they went all the way and lifted the trophy. But they lost. Boo-hoo. Let's see. So, yeah, Croatian women. Obviously, she's hot as fuck. But for the most part, they're like, you know, you know, they're handmaidens. They're making milk and whatnot. This lady's got, you know, I made this cheese with my family. It's basically like Amish country, but they have technology. How much does it cost to fly to Croatia? $279. This is Expedia. Google Flights. Let's see. I want to go to Pula. I do want to go to Pula. 24 hours. Man. Okay, hold on. But that's on short notice. What if I want to go like much later? $2,000, $1,400, $1,400. This is pretty good. Pretty good. Do they speak English in Croatia? Speak English in Croatia. It's commonly spoken as a second language. Hey, you know, my fiance wants to go to Italy for our wedding. So maybe we'll just do Croatia instead, because they actually speak the language we speak. Okay. Okay. And then if I were to go to Pula, let's see those hotels. $69? What? $43. I gotta see what this place looks like. This place looks nice. Okay, that's definitely somebody's house, but that looks nice. And look, they got the little soaps. They got the beach. What is all the... What? Do they have, like, weird bugs over there in Croatia? Croatian bugs. Swallowtail. It's slow floating flight pattern. Blah, blah, blah. Asian tiger mosquito? What? Oh my god, what is that? Oh, we have these in California. Right? It was found in 2 northern and 4 southern counties of California. Oh yeah, I remember. So, these fucking mosquitoes got over to California somehow and were just attacking my fucking calves. So apparently, somehow these mosquitoes got over and were just living in all the, you know, poorly taken care of pools in Southern California, which there are thousands, a million pools that are just, not getting chlorine, not getting... It takes a lot of work to keep a pool clean, but yeah. Fuck Croatia. Fuck all that. That's insane. Let's take a look at some fun facts, and we'll wrap it up. The pool arena, definitely a highlight. That really got me going. Over 1,200 islands. Don't care. Kirk. Croatia's heart-shaped island called Kalisnijak, also known as the Island of Love. Maybe I'll go there. Island of Love. Oh, because it looks like a big heart. Ball. Heart-shaped Croatian island. Daw. Let's look at common crimes in Croatia. Fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion, and misuse of funds. So I'll be fine. I'm worried. I'm hoping it's not like robbery, theft, sexual assault. No, this is all like rich guy crimes. You know, I'm not trying to embezzle millions of dollars. I'm not like, oh darn. You know what? Let's go to Africa instead. No. Financial. That's so funny. Criminality. Okay. So it seems like it's a pretty safe place, huh? I'm not accepting the cookies. What is the travel advisory? What is it? Come on. U.S. Department of State. Travel advisory, level 1. And just for fun, I like to look at the travel advisory for Paris. 2. It's always, if you go to the travel advisory for like France, it's always just like, don't you fucking go there. Like, be careful. I think recently it was on one of these episodes, I think it was Togo, which was a colony of France. Togo, which was a former colony of France, was at a lower level of caution than France itself, which I just thought was hilarious, that like an African country is like way safer than, you know, this like nice European place. They're like, no, those people are fucking animals. But yeah, France sucks. Thank you so much for listening. I love you and goodbye.